Hello, everyone. This is Amy C. Waninger with Lead at Any Level, and I am doing a brand new thing today. This is a live simulcast going out to Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter at Amy C. Waninger, and my handles on all of those different platforms. And what I want to talk to you about, what this show is going to be about, is really about inclusive leadership strategies for emerging and established leaders in corporate spaces. I really want to help you not only remove some of the friction that happens on your teams, but also, you know, retain the people that are there, keep them from leaving, and make your work teams more effective, make your departments more effective, and really help people grow. Give them something to hang on to in your organization. There is so much going on right now with employees. The job market's super hot, right? So we want to make sure that we are doing everything we can to engage people, and all the ways that people show up at work, whether they're working from home, working in the office, or working hybrid. So today I want to talk about something very close to my heart, and that is modeling a growth mindset. This is something that is so important for leaders to do. So today I just want to share 6 quick tips on how you can model a growth mindset in your workplace. What this does is, number one, it helps your employees see you as human, because if they see you learning and growing, they will see that it's safe for them to learn and grow. They'll see that it's safe for them to take those risks. The second thing that the second reason that you want to model a growth mindset is, even if you know everything right now about your work, about your environment, about your market, about your organization, even if 100% of what you know right now is everything there is to know, what's going to happen tomorrow? Something's going to change. So even if you have a whole team of experts, when the conditions or the environment around you changes, modeling a growth mindset now will help you prepare both yourself and your team to adapt when things change around them, so that they can continue to be experts in their space. And the third thing is, when we adopt a growth mindset, this really applies to every aspect of working with each other. We are constantly, if we're doing this right, we're constantly learning about ourselves. We are constantly learning about our business. We're constantly learning about our markets, our customers, and our teammates. So the more we can adopt this growth mindset and model it for others, the more everyone can grow. I see some folks starting to join live. So what I would love to have happen is, if you could, in the chat, wherever you're joining, just tell me where you're in from. Where in the world are you? Maybe what your role is, because I'd love to be able to customize what I'm saying today to you specifically. So thank you for joining. Again, today we're talking about modeling a growth mindset. Let me know you're here. Where are you coming from? So 6 tips today for modeling a growth mindset. The very first one is sometimes the hardest one, so I want to get it out of the way. The first one is to challenge assumptions. Let me give you a couple of examples of how this might play out in a corporate environment. So the first is, saying we've always done it that way is a huge red flag that you are relying on old and possibly outdated assumptions. So one of the ways that I've seen this show up, I was doing some work with a very large tech company, and I was doing some coaching with them. And one of the things that kept coming up is they were really worried about these upcoming career conversations they were having. Hi, Precious in Dallas. It's great to see you. I know that this is something that's near and dear to your heart. And I know you are constantly challenging assumptions. Thanks for tuning in. So the way this was showing up for several individuals in this company is, they said, well, I'd really like to go for a new role in the organization. I'd like to expand my responsibilities. I'd like to expand my influence, or I'd like to learn something new in the company. But several of them said, but the work that I do is done in a different office. They don't hire people in that department from where I work. And so the question that I asked them, of course, was, how do you know that's still true? Are people working remotely right now? Hi, Giselle in San Juan. It's so good to see you. Or Giselle, I'm sorry, I mispronounced your name. Um, is that still true? Because during the pandemic, everybody was working from home. And so maybe those old assumptions don't apply anymore. Maybe you can do what you want to do for your organization from where you currently are. Maybe those location restrictions aren't still as as firm as they once were, as strict as they once were. And if you're a manager, you can encourage not only yourself, but your teams to challenge their assumptions about the way things are or the way things have always been. Another way I've seen this show up is people say, well, I can't apply for this role because I don't have a degree, or I need a degree, or I need a certification before I can do X, right? And if you're a manager, ask, why do they believe that to be true? It may be true, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's something that's in their minds that we assume to be true. So, or that they are assuming to be true that isn't necessarily so. So always ask, why do you believe that? When was the last time you verified that information? And is there maybe a way that we could, try anyway? And see if we can get through this time. See if there's something that's changed. See if we can get somebody to take a chance on you or on us or on our team. So always be challenging the assumptions at work if you want to model a growth mindset. The second tip I have for modeling a growth mindset is to what I call use Yeti language. So a lot of times we set the culture of our organization by the questions that we ask or the things that we say. And one of my favorite things about challenging growth mindset is being a Yeti. And here's what I love about a Yeti. No one has captured a Yeti yet. And the word yet does a lot of heavy lifting, right? Because yet is all about what could be. It creates this other possible future for us. So you may say to yourself as a leader in corporate space, my team isn't ready yet. My team doesn't have these skills yet. I haven't been tapped on the shoulder for this opportunity yet. And you see how the word yet creates huge mindset shifts, even in the way we talk about the opportunity, even in the way we talk about our current state. So when you're talking to employees about what they want to do, about what they want to learn, about what they want to achieve, ask them, what would you like to do that you haven't done yet? Because it really opens up that gap between what they aspire to be and where they think they are. And then you can start to challenge some of the assumptions that are maybe keeping them from stepping out into that space. I'd love to know in the chat if you've experienced this, if you've used any of these tools. I know some of you that are that are watching this live have seen me present some of this at conferences or at organizations. So I'd love to know how you're using this in your own life as I'm popping up here, or as I'm coming up with some of these strategies. The next one is ask for feedback. If you are a leader, ask your team for feedback. Hey, in the meeting today, I tried something different. What did you think of that? How did that land? Or maybe you're talking about how you're coaching someone. Stop and ask, is this helpful for you? How can I help you better? Because the more we check in with the people that lead us, or that we lead, the more they understand that we are growing too. The more we model that, the more they will then give us feedback, number one, which makes us better, but also ask us for feedback in return. When people ask for feedback, they are much more likely to receive it well, to internalize it, and to utilize the feedback to grow than if we give it to them unsolicited. The best way to get people to ask for feedback is for us to ask as leaders for feedback ourselves. So constantly be asking for feedback. And if you have somebody on your team that's really good at giving you feedback, and I want to give a shout out real quick to my friend Russ Liszetsky. Russ and I used to work together. He was on my team, and I learned more being his manager than I'm sure he ever learned from me. But Russ was so good at giving me feedback. And I got into the habit because of that of asking him for feedback all the time and putting to use what he told me, making sure that I was modeling the behavior I was picking up from one of my direct reports to the team, to the people that were leading me. So it's really important that we constantly get in that feedback loop. And the more we seek feedback out, the more likely we are to get it. That helps us grow. So sometimes you may not always like what people are telling you, but my tip there is if you don't like the feedback you're getting, here's what you say. Ready? Thank you for telling me this. Thank you for sharing this with me. I'd like some time to think about it and how I might use this going forward. You don't have to always respond right away, but always ask for the feedback and take it away and think about it. And Hisel says, I've used the word yet. I think it's a great grounding word that resets possibilities. Asking for feedback is also a great listening activity as a leader. Absolutely. So, so far, modeling growth mindset, 6 strategies that we've covered for those just joining. Number 1, challenge your assumptions. Just because we used to do it that way doesn't mean we still have to. Number 2, use Yeti language, as he tells us, to kind of think about what's possible. And number 3 is to ask for feedback from your team, from your customers, from your peers, from the people that are leading you. Constantly be asking for feedback. That's how we grow. Number 4 is to transfer knowledge. Now, if you are modeling a growth mindset, if you are constantly learning, and I will say I'm a Clifton certified strengths coach or Gallup certified Clifton strengths coach. So one of the things that I teach is play to your strengths, right? How do you do what you do best most of the time so you can do the most good that you can. One of my personal strengths is that of learner. I love to accumulate knowledge. But what I've learned is that number 1, not everybody is a learner, so not everybody wants to do that. But when we do learn something new, one of the best ways we can magnify the impact of that learning is to share it with others. So if you've read a great book, if you've gone to a conference and seen a fantastic speaker, if you went to a lunch and learn or you attended a networking event, talk about what you are learning with your peers, with your team, with your manager. Make sure that they are constantly knowing not only that you're learning, that's important, that you're trying to improve, but also what you're learning. If you pick something up that can help someone else, share it with them. Hey, I went to this conference session yesterday and I heard this amazing speaker. She was talking about managing change at work and how we can steel ourselves. And I know that you're going through a lot lately. Here's some tips that she shared that might be helpful for you. Okay. Number 5 is recognize the growth of others on your team. Now, if you see somebody applying something that they've learned, call that out privately first, always privately first. Say, hey, I noticed that we went together to this training session and we were talking about negotiation skills. I heard you use those negotiation skills in the meeting with our boss yesterday. Great job. Thank you for modeling that for me. It helped reinforce my learning as well. That's one way you can recognize growth in others. Another way you can recognize growth in others is once you've given them some feedback or they've asked you for feedback or you've heard them get feedback, if you see them applying that feedback, reward that, right? Just like if you're teaching a little kid to ride a bike, right? Hey, you put your helmet on. Great job getting your helmet on today, right? That has nothing to do with whether or not they're going to stay on the bike, but it's a step in the right direction. And so anytime somebody's taking a step in the right direction, make sure that you're giving them that feedback, that you see them, that you value them, that you acknowledge their effort. And if the results are showing it, you can talk to them about their results as well. And finally, my 6th step for modeling a growth mindset I'm doing right now, and that is try something new. And try something new in front of people, in front of the people that you're trying to lead. So the new thing that I'm trying is this live webcast. I want to do this every Monday at 11 o'clock. Sometimes it'll be 15 minutes, sometimes 30 minutes. But every Monday at 11 o'clock, I'm committing to trying something new, to share some tips that I've picked up, some things that have been helpful for my corporate clients, things that have been helpful to my conference audiences that might help you as well. So you may see me fumble, you may see me stumble and fall, you may see me fight with technology. In fact, I can almost guarantee that's going to happen. But I'm willing to be bad at something new because I think it's going to help me grow, but also because I think it's going to help you learn from my example, hopefully, but also hopefully I'll have some really good tips that'll resonate with you, things that you can put into place in your workplace right away that will make a difference. So again, today we're talking about modeling a growth mindset, which I'm trying to do for you even as I'm talking about it. Number one, challenge those assumptions. Think about new ways of doing things and ask if the old rules still apply. Always ask, is that still the case? How do you know? Number two is use Yeti language. We may not be where we want to be yet, but yet implies that we can get there. Number three is always be asking for feedback. Thank you, Stephanie. You see me. Stephanie says, way to be willing to show us growing in action. Thank you, Stephanie, so much. I see you, and I know that this is important to you. Thank you for seeing me. And so number three is asking for feedback, right? How did it go today? Right? Let me know in the chat. How is this for you? Is this something that you want to see more of? Is there something that I can do more effectively? Number four is transfer knowledge. When you learn something new, share it with others. And if you can share it with somebody that can use it right now, even better. Number five is recognize growth. When you see somebody stepping out, when you see them applying something new that they've learned, make sure that you recognize it. And number six, always be trying something new. Be willing to fail, be willing to take a risk. Remember, as a leader, people look to you to see what is acceptable, what is okay, what are the things that they're allowed to do. And if they see you trying new things, if they see you trying and failing or taking a risk, they are more likely to do it too. So you want to model the behavior that you want your team to engage in. And that can be scary for leaders, right? Tomorrow. But remember, this is all about growth, because what happens is we're never in a place where we know everything. No matter how much we've learned, no matter how much school we've gone through, no matter how many certifications we have, no matter how much experience we have, that's gotten us to this point, but the world could change tomorrow. So the more comfortable we are, constantly learning, constantly growing, the better equipped we will be to prepare for the challenges tomorrow. And Precious, I want to thank you for Precious says she's looking forward to this new show, this new opportunity to see Amy try and fail. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to it too. I really want to demonstrate what it's like to get out of my comfort zone every day or every week, and um, you know, and connect with you guys, because it's hard, right? We've all been so disconnected for so long, and this is an opportunity for us to connect in meaningful ways. So today's kind of a short show. I'm trying to get the technology right. I'm trying to figure out the format of this whole thing. But I am so glad that you joined me today. I am so glad to have you here. And I am so excited to see how you will model a growth mindset this week. Let me know in the chat which one of these 6 steps you can implement right away. How will you implement it? Because if you make that commitment, then we can catch up next week and see if you actually did it. So which growth mindset modeling technique will you use this week? Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the comments. Thank you all so much. And I'm going to attempt now to end this broadcast, this brand new thing that I'm doing, and see if see what happens after this. Maybe it'll show up in the feed as a recorded. Maybe it won't. I don't know. I'm new here. But thank you all so much for tuning in.